Welcome, everyone. We're here today at Florida Closing and Escrow. We're the only title company located in Sunny Isles, and we have additional locations, and we're mobile, multilingual, wireless, paperless, remote. We have a 5-star rating with the BBB, and John was voted in the top 50 real estate attorneys in America. Yay, John. And we're here to assist you with your success from contract to closing for residential, commercial, in-state, out-of-state, out-of-country buyers and sellers. And also to keep you updated on the new laws. Education is power and knowledge. So today's topic is the new laws with the as-is contract. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Cindy. Hi, everyone here. Hi, everyone here. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a new law that came out July 1st, so just 19 days ago, which talks about foreign buyers. There is a law in place that we all know about foreign sellers. If there's a foreign seller, FIRPTA applies. But if there now is a foreign buyer, there are certain things that we're going to need to discuss. So I'm going to share my screen with the internet world.
And if anyone needs a copy, please contact us.
Okay. So our first page of the document is this new as-is contract that has been revised. And it also applies to all commercial contracts, vacant land contracts, and also the regular residential contracts. So this new law applies to all purchasing of property in the entire state of Florida. So what's changed? We're going to look at the bottom of the first page, and it shows that 6X is the new version of the contract with the revision of 723 and copyrighted 2023. So if you see it at the bottom under page 1 of 11, this is how you'll know you're using the correct contract. If you have Form Simplicity or one of those softwares, it most likely is already updated. But just to be sure, you want to make sure that you're using the most up-to-date one, and that's the 6X. So pages 2 through 11, there are no changes. So in your handouts, it's the next page that the change was made to, and this is page 12 of 13 of the contract. And basically, this page 12 used to have the signature lines on it. They basically moved that to the next page. And now the contract is 13 pages. It used to be 12 pages. So now we go to page 3 of your handout, and this is the big change. This box right smack in the center, right above the signature lines. And what does it say? It says, attention to seller and buyer, conveyances to foreign buyers. Part 3, chapter 692 of the new law, sections 201 through 205. In part limits and regulates the sale, purchase, and ownership of certain Florida properties by certain buyers who are associated with a foreign country of concern. And so what does that mean? What's a foreign country of concern? They list it right here in the contract, and they say the People's Republic of China, the Russian Federation, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Republic of Cuba, the Venezuelan regime of Nicolas Maduro, and the Syrian Arab Republic. Here's the big change. Next sentence. It is a crime to buy or knowingly sell property in violation of this act. At time of purchase, buyer must provide a signed affidavit which complies with the requirements of the act. Buyer and seller are advised to seek legal counsel regarding their respective obligations and liabilities under the act. So that has been added to not only this as-is contract, but as I mentioned, all other purchase contracts in Florida. It also applies to pre-construction contracts as well. So what is this affidavit that they're talking about that needs to be signed at closing? Next page of your handout actually has a copy of the affidavit that the title company is going to prepare at time of closing. You as realtors do not need to get this signed, but this needs to be signed at time of closing, and we prepare it as a title company. Basically, it says that the name of the person at the top, we're going to insert the property address and legal description, and it's going to say under number 3, the affiant is or is not a foreign principal as defined under this act. So, what does a foreign principal mean? Good question. Let's go to the next slide. This document needs to be signed and notarized, so it's a legal document that gets signed at closing. Next page. Okay, so we talked about foreign countries. They list them here again: China, Russia, Iran, Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, and Syria. What does it mean to be a foreign principal from one of these foreign countries? Buyers are a foreign principal if any of these apply to them. And they list here 5 classifications. The first 2 really don't apply to us. It's basically the government itself of one of these countries or a political party from one of these countries. Here's what does apply to us as realtors down here in South Florida: C, D, and E. A partnership, association, corporation, or organization that has a principal place of business in a foreign country. So a foreign LLC or a foreign corporation obviously is considered a foreign principal. D, any person who is domiciled in a foreign country, so domicile means lives there, foreign country of concern from those 7 countries, and is not a citizen or lawful permanent resident of the United States. So if they live in one of those 7 countries and they are not a citizen of the US or have a lawful permanent residency, which is what, a green card, then they are considered a foreign principal. Just to remind you, this is just these 7 countries, not any other country. Canada, Italy, Greece, any of these countries. It's business as usual. This law does not apply to them. However, they will still have to sign the affidavit at time of closing, and we as a title company will just explain to them what that affidavit is. Next, E, any person, entity, or collection of persons or entities described in A through D, having a controlling interest in a partnership, association, corporation, or organization, trust, or anything like that. So basically, if there's a Florida corporation or Florida LLC, which is owned by a foreign person or foreign entity, that is also considered a foreign principal. So what does it mean if you do have a client that is from one of these 7 countries and is a foreign principal? Let's go to the next slide. The law says that if a buyer is a foreign principal, Florida law prohibits them from purchasing or acquiring any interest in real property in Florida classified as agricultural land. So these foreign principals cannot buy agricultural land, period. Number 2, with limited exceptions, and we're going to go over the exceptions below, they are prohibited from purchasing or acquiring any interest in real property in Florida within 10 miles of a critical infrastructure facility or military installation. Wow, that's a lot. What does that mean? Okay, so the definition of critical infrastructure and military installation is at the bottom of the page. And it says a military installation is basically one of those that are classified under the Department of Defense. I think the closest one we have here is in Homestead, maybe the Homestead Air Force Base. But number 3, this is important, the critical infrastructure facility. What does it mean? Basically, if it employs measures such as fences, barriers, or guard posts that are designed to exclude unauthorized persons. And then they list what these facilities are. Chemical manufacturing facility, a refinery, electrical power plant, water treatment facility or wastewater treatment plant, liquid natural gas terminal, telecommunications central switching office, gas processing plant, seaports, we have two of those, Miami and Fort Lauderdale, spaceport, I believe the closest one is in Cape Canaveral, and airports. We have quite a few of those, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and we have a bunch of executive and smaller airports. So what this law says is, if we go back to the top, if they are a foreign principal, they cannot buy any real property within 10 miles of these places. Now, here's the problem. Where are these places? They don't have a map yet, and no one really knows. They don't have a website up yet. So we don't know, I don't know where a chemical manufacturing facility is. And these facilities aren't really listed in certain areas. They're not in maps, and purposefully so. They don't want us to know where these critical infrastructures are. So electrical power plant, I'm sure those are water treatment facilities, have to be around here somewhere. So my point is they haven't told us where these places are yet. Hopefully, since the law is still brand new, we're hoping that they're going to have a website that we can maybe enter the address in, and then they'll tell us whether they're within one of these facilities. They don't have that up yet. So it's an issue. We're hoping they resolve it soon, but they have not done it yet. As soon as they do, we'll let you guys know. But this goes back to what you can do as a realtor. Don't make this determination. Don't go onto Google Maps and find out where the property is that the buyer wants to buy and see if there's anything around it. Don't do that, because there could be places that are not on the map, like a telecommunications central switching office. I'm sure those are around. We just don't know where they are. So don't make that determination. What you as realtors can do is say to a buyer, there's a new law that came out July 1st. Are you from one of these 7 countries? And you can show them maybe the page of the contract that says what the new law is. You can ask them that. You cannot ask them, where are you from? Because that's discrimination on national origin. So do not say that. But you can say, are you from one of these 7 countries listed in the law? If they say yes, what your next sentence should be is, you need to speak to an attorney, because there are restrictions that came out that will limit your ability to purchase certain properties. I highly, highly recommend not trying to make the determinations of whether they're considered a foreign principal, and if they are, whether they're within a certain mileage of a certain critical infrastructure. Because if you're wrong, and if they do buy a property, the penalty is that the government can take that property from the buyer. They will lose the property. It will be escheated to the state, it's called. So don't make any determinations, because if you're wrong, the government takes the property. What is that buyer going to do? They're going to sue you because you told them that it was okay to purchase. So please don't make any of those determinations. They need to speak to an attorney. I will go through with them, or any attorney will go through with them the law and find out if they do, if they're eligible to purchase. What you can ask them is speak to an attorney, and then have that attorney email me, meaning you, that they are either a foreign principal and they're eligible to purchase, or they're not a foreign principal and you can move forward with the purchase. If the attorney doesn't want to do that to you, then you can ask the buyer to send you an email that says, I've spoken to an attorney and we've made a determination that I can purchase this property. Save that email, put it in your file. So if the government ever comes knocking and says, hey, what did you know about this? You can say, well, I asked them about it. They told me that they're not foreign principals, and so that's why we move forward. So let's continue on that page, because there are 2 exceptions that we're going to get to. But first, I want to go up to number 3, where it says, note, foreign principals of the People's Republic of China are prohibited from purchasing or acquiring any interest in any real property in Florida, regardless of its classification. So there's a ban on Chinese buyers from purchasing any property, not if it's outside of 10 miles of a critical infrastructure, just any properties, unless two exceptions apply. And these exceptions apply to not only China, but the rest of the 6 foreign countries. And those exceptions are in the middle of the page. And they are: number 1, limited residential exception. If the buyer is a natural person, so if they are an individual, they're not buying under an LLC or a corporation, they may still purchase one residential real property up to 2 acres in size, if all of the following apply. A, the parcel is not on or within 5 miles of a military installation. B, buyer has a current verified United States visa that is not limited to authorizing tourist-based travel, so not a tourist visa, or official documentation confirming that the person has been granted asylum in the U.S., and such visa or documentation authorizes the person to be legally present in Florida. C, the purchase is in the buyer's name, so the name on the visa or the name on the asylum documents. And finally, D, the buyer is only entitled to one residential property as described above. So they cannot buy 2 or 3 properties. They're only entitled to one, and they cannot buy commercial properties. They're only entitled to one residential property. The second exception is for diplomatic purposes. If someone's seeking diplomatic asylum or if they have diplomatic immunity, they can purchase as well. And then finally, it says persons who are or may be defined as foreign principals of foreign countries of concern should consult with an attorney before purchasing or acquiring any interest in real property in Florida after July 1st. So this act is now effective. Land acquired in violation of this law may be forfeited to the state, as we discussed. We'll take some questions in a little bit. I'll finish here. We'll let Cindy conclude the broadcast, and then we'll continue.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and we're here to help you with your success from contract to closing. And again, I'm Cindy Mirapole. I could be reached at 786-457-6832. And I'm sorry, the mic was muted, so let me repeat that. Thank you for joining us today. We're here at Florida Closing and Escrow. We're located in Sunny Isles, and we are mobile, digital, wireless, remote. I'm Cindy Mirapole, and I could be reached at 786-457-6832. And I can be reached at 1-800-CLOSE. Thank you for joining us today.